Dallas Fuel announced the release of Felix xQc Lengyel. The Dallas Fuel and tank player Felix xQc Lengyel announced they mutually agreed to part ways. Lengyel, known as one of the best Winston players in the world, had appeared in 6 Overwatch Leagues matches for the Dallas Fuel this season. Whatever you do, don't call Winston Harambe. Don't type the word Harambe in chat, guys, because it's a divisive meme. So don't do that. His original contract with the team was set to expire at the end of this season. There are few players out there who have achieved as much success in as short a time as Felix has in competitive Overwatch. Ultimately, it was in the best interest of our organization and Felix to part ways before the expiration of his contract, said Mike Raphael, owner of the Dallas Fuel. No one wants to see Felix succeed more than we do, and we believe he has a bright future ahead of him. I want to thank him for his time and the passion he brought to Dallas Fuel. Earlier this week, the Overwatch League suspended xQc from league competition for 4 matches for player conduct reasons. Yeah, don't elaborate on what those reasons are, because then they might sound a bit silly. The recent suspension by the Overwatch League prohibits Lengyel from playing or practicing with any team for the remainder of Stage 2. So he can't even go to another team. Wait, what? A suspension means you can't practice? Okay. Our focus is to field a roster with players that are available to help the Dallas Fuel succeed now and in the future. Releasing Felix today allows us the flexibility. Suck off Dallas Fuel. All right, so let's talk about this thing. So xQc has been really fucking stupid because he's been handed the golden ticket. Right? He's become a star name in an upcoming esport that I still think has long-term problems they can't resolve. But whatever. For now, they've done all right. And with League of Legends tanking and people nowhere near as interested in the franchise system as they'd hoped, Overwatch, I suppose, has done comparatively well, all things considered. Even if they did generate a bunch of hokey investment, there's no denying that the Overwatch League has probably exceeded my expectations. Even though I did have the average viewership between 80,000 and 120,000, they've gone beyond that, right? So fair play. It's fake, it's nonsense, and manufactured, but it's still been successful. So whatever. And he's been a big star in that and a big name, and had a very popular stream individually. Now, since joining one of the desired franchise teams that have like a decent relationship because of the VC they're backed by with Blizzard, this player has consistently been in trouble for pathetic reasons. I'm saying homophobic words on my own stream, and it's like, if it slips out and you're immediately apologetic, like genuinely remorseful, and like you come out and you're like, wow, I should, you get ahead of it and you put the apology out. Like, we can all say something stupid in the heat of the moment. Like, everybody jokes and goes, oh, is it a heated gaming moment? Well, some people have different thresholds about what words they use in certain company, and context is absolutely vitally important when you want to label someone a bigot for some reason, right? So while it's not a word I've ever let slip, I've seen some people have let it slip, and there's been various degrees of outrage depending on who you are, how successful you are, this sort of thing, whether the media get into it. So xQc's had a target on his back, and he's been fucking stupid in giving them the ammunition by saying these ridiculously stupid, derogatory things. And at the first instance, xQc said this stuff and slipped. Somebody should have got to him and gone, yo, Felix, listen to me, brother. People are gunning for you. People are coming for you. And if you keep doing this stuff and you keep giving them the ammunition, they will take you down. They are 100% going to take you down. And, I'll tell you another story in just a second that's going to link to this. But nobody seems to have done that for Felix. Like, I don't know. Like, I saw Hastro, like, barking at fucking Slasher and putting out statements going, more fake news, and just being a fucking idiot, right? And trying to put the shine on himself. When in actual fact, like, what you should, this is where you make your money. You stop your star players from imploding. Where you at? Where's Big Brother? Here's what I would have done. Right, if it was clear to me he was going to have behavioral issues, I'd have dropped him before the second instance and said, look, focus on streaming, and I'm going to monitor your stream. And if you feel shit building up, or you're going to say stupid stuff, turn off the stream, play something else. You got my permission, my blessing. Nobody did it. Nobody helped this guy out. So he is to blame for himself, but again, like, nobody can understand what it's like to go from zero spotlight to massive bat signal in your fucking face. Nobody knows what that transition is like. All the people criticizing him, they never have to deal with that. Right? And I'm not saying what he does is right. And obviously the guy's an idiot. Like, arguing with Sir Scoots. Who the fuck are you, man? Use Google, you fucking pleb. You know what I mean? Calling Counter-Strike like, you know, a low skill game. Like, just, dude, stop. Stop with this shit. Stop. Now, sometimes, right, when you're what these new wave of games developers like to call toxic, thank you very much, Jeffrey Light Lynn, one of the most abusive and disgusting human beings who has ever existed in the esports space, who got away with it all and managed to slink off into the fucking shadows where he belongs. Thank you very much for introducing that term. Right? But when a games developer that controls an esports league labels you toxic, they do what happens in regular businesses. They manage you out the door. Managing someone out. You know how this works, right? If you've ever had a shitty office job, here's how it goes, right? They do something you don't like, they say something you don't like, but you can't do them for it, so then you start monitoring them 24/7, constantly. They might make mistakes other people would be excused for doing, but you throw the book at them every time, and because it's the book, you're perfectly entitled to do it, and you listen to all their calls, and you read all their paperwork, and you just surveil them until they fuck up, because guess what? Humans fuck up. So you catch them and then you get them out of the business. And that's exactly what's happened to xQc. Now, if you look at the evidence, and I did, right, when he did this try-hard thing, while Malik was on screen, my immediate reaction was, what a fucking idiot. Like, what an idiot to even risk it. What an idiot. That was my initial reaction. And I don't think xQc is a racist. Of course I don't. But I saw that, and that screenshot in isolation is pretty bad. It looks like you, as a professional player, are going along with the mob and doing what the mob is doing, which is racist, as I've established. Imagine a world, right? The argument is just this simple to me. Imagine a world where we said our emotions or said what was on our mind with one word. So if somebody told a joke, you went funny, 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 funny. And then if somebody told a story and you liked it, you went happy, happy, happy. If every time you saw a black person, you went black, 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 and no other fucking emotion or thought was in your head, yeah, you're racist. You're only looking at the color of their skin. That's what the tryhard emote says to me. If you spam that every time you see a black person on fucking screen, you probably got a problem with color, mate. I'm just saying. Like, is that fair? Is that a fair example? So anyway, like, people straight in there, what is this comparison? What is this comparison? That's exactly what an emote is. That's why it's called an emote, short for emotions, right? So anyway, whatever. I'm not having that fucking argument again, because I've got a bunch of people in my audience who think I've turned into a fucking SJW just because I said, maybe there's a bit of nuance to this topic, you know? Maybe it's not the SJWs trying to ruin your game. Maybe, actually, black people don't like being reduced to just the colour of their skin. Just a wild, crazy thought from 2018, current year, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, so when I saw that screenshot in isolation, I was like, yo, this is bad, right? Like, No, emote, emoticon, emotion, emote. Tell me you can see that the word emote, E-M-O-T, emotion, it's got the same linguistic root. Tell me you understand that. What is an emoticon? Holy shit, you can't be real. People, stop now. My blood pressure can only get so fucking high. So anyway, I don't stay tilted for long, but there's a bottle of fucking whiskey right here that's going to de-tilt. So anyway, I saw that screenshot in isolation, and it looks really fucking bad. But then I looked at the evidence, and the evidence actually shows that this is something he would always do. Now, I'm not saying he weren't trying to edgelord it up a bit, right? I ain't saying he weren't trying to edgelord it up a bit. Maybe he did do it deliberately while Malik was on screen to try and be funny. You know, maybe that's how it went down. But every time he arrives in the chat, he would type like tryhard7 gang or something stupid like that. And somebody actually did the math. Hashtag they did the math. Let me just find it for you because I liked it. Where you at? It might take me a while because I use like as a bookmark, so all the stuff we talk on the show is in there too. Right. So we got that. Hang on, I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna find this for you. Wait there. Oh, come on. Did I not like that thread? Fuck! Oh, no, I got it. Woo! Got it, okay. Here it is, right? So here's the evidence. Boom. Right? So over Russell logs record chat put into certain Twitch channels. Okay? So look, here he is. This is, again, Malik not on screen. Tryhard7, no tryhard7, tryhard7, sub chat, smile. Right? Does it again. Uses a bunch of other memes here. You can see. Dan's Game, Ming Lee, Dan's Game, Ellie Giggle. I mean, like, you might think the guy's a fucking idiot, right? Based on these chat logs. But it's better than the alternative, isn't it? It's better he's an idiot than a fucking racist. So, like, if I was representing the guy, that would... Look, he just talks in memes. He's like Admiral Bulldog. Not Admirable Bulldog, although he is very admirable. I like, right? Ming Lee, free profit, try hard. Come on, bruh, try hard. Like, he only types in memes. He only types in emotes. So, and I think there's some others to this. But the bottom line is trying to sync it up and say he only said try hard because Malik was on screen is now impossible because it's in his common use lexicon, right? He uses it. Now let's look at the Blizzard suspension. So if you bring up what they say in the suspension, where does it say it here? Right, here it is. I'll give you the PC Gamer one, because there's a transparency issue with the Overwatch website in XSplit for some reason. So here it is, right? xQc again, racially disparaging emotes. This is what they said. XQC repeatedly used an emote in a racially disparaging manner on the league stream and on social media, and used disparaging language against Overwatch League casters and fellow players on social media and on his personal stream. So, this is the first thing I would do if I was XQC, and this is why players need to have representation. Based on no discernible evidence, they have said he's used the emote in a racially disparaging manner. They have stated that as fact. That is lawyer time. That is lawyer time. Because you cannot prove that he did that. And yet you're publicly saying that. Blizzard are now on record as saying Felix XQC Lengyel has done something racially disparaging. No way can that be fucking said. No fucking way can that be said. Right? And this is the thing. You saw, I am on the side of having a sensible discussion about whether or not these emotes should be spammed. But to out and out accuse the player of doing something racially disparaging when he says try hard all of the time, and it is a usable emote on Twitch's platform that is used by hundreds of thousands of people every day in a variety of contexts, is outrageous. It is beyond outrageous. If that was me, I wouldn't even give a fuck about the suspension. I'd be like, thank you, Blizzard. You just made me rich. And I would call up my fucking lawyer and I would go to fucking court with Activision Blizzard's lawyers and I would get paid. Because that is to factually state it at a time when people are so overboard with racists and Nazis being everywhere, that isn't just damaging to your reputation, it is potentially dangerous. So that is actually outrageous. Racially disparaging manner. Now, the second part of it is, they said he used disparaging language against Overwatch League casters and fellow players. And this disparaging language, ladies and gentlemen, was him using the word cancer. Okay? Now, cancer. There's a word, isn't there? There's a word that really summons up some deep primal emotions, right? Maybe like me, you've lost loved ones to cancer. Maybe they went out young to cancer. Maybe like me, you lost your best friend aged 14 to brain cancer. Rest in peace, Paul. Right? Does that stop me using the word cancer to describe things? No. Do you know why? Because I'm not a fucking child. I'm not a fucking infant. Right? I'm not a child. If I think something is, I don't know, eating away at the fabric of something, I'll say it's cancerous. If somebody is doing something that I don't think is very good, I will call it, that's cancer. I'll say it. I'll even make cancer jokes now and then. Not always. It's a dark topic, but you know what? I'd be lying to you if I said I'd never made a joke or heard a joke and laughed that involved a terminal illness or cancer or something like that. I'd be straight lying. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure there was actually, we all love Breaking Bad. We all love Breaking Bad. We all love the dark cancer jokes that are in Breaking Bad, right? So, whatever. That is what Felix did. Felix said that, oh my God, those casters are cancer. Their casting is cancer, right? As in not very pleasant. And he also said that some players were cancer on his personal stream. Now, here's something else to consider before we even go any further. So, first up, if you are saying that the word cancer is disparaging, it's such a stretch. Yeah, exactly. Total Biscuit. You know? Made more than a few. I'll tell you what. This is why I love John. And I think he's one of the bravest and most dignified guys I've met, even though he doesn't always behave with dignity. But I think in the face of what is his biggest challenge, he's been more dignified than almost anybody of my age group or anybody I know. When he was diagnosed with cancer, he did a podcast, and it might have been an Unfiltered, and it was like me, Chairman, and Destiny, and he came on and he literally made the joke. He said, "Imagine the irony of getting ass cancer when people say you've been talking out your ass your entire career." And we were all like, obviously fucking super sad and super fucking just heartbroken that this had happened to someone that we fucking cared about. And he came on the show and was his usual self and was full fire. And he made that joke right off the bat to put us at ease. So, again, don't tell me the word's off limits. Don't tell me it's disparaging. So anyway, the word cancer being used as a literary descriptor or a metaphor or a simile is something that has gone on for a long, long time. And it's a go-to. And to try and imply that it's in any way in the same league as what they're also accusing him of racially disparaging. There's a reason they've used the same word twice, by the way. That's a linguistic trick to make you think racially disparaging, and the other thing he said, which we're not going to tell you, is disparaging. So what they're trying to do is trick you into thinking this guy is serially racist or serially homophobic or whatever. It is a linguistic trick. They've deliberately presented it that way to create an association in your brain. Yes, they do think that deeply about these things. Absolutely. So you've also got to recognize different cultures. And for example, there are words, which I will not say, in foreign languages that involve the word canker, which means cancer. And you will hear these cultures say that word, and to them it's the same as saying, bloody hell, fucking shit, what the fuck? You know? They say it as an exclamation. Now, there's definitely something fucked up with some of those, although I think canker on its own is fine. But canker is a word that, on its own, is perfectly acceptable in those cultures. It is considered the same as fuck, shit, piss, whatever. It is just another swear word. It's another curse. Again, I am not talking about the word that you guys are talking about in the chat right now. I'm not going to say that word. I think there's something wrong with that word. Honestly. It's a deeply anti-Semitic word. You can't get away from that. You can't make a justification for that for me. Sorry. But canker on its own is just like cunt. So, I don't know anything about Felix xQc Lengyel. I'm looking at his name. I see he's Canadian. I would assume perhaps he's a French Canadian. So again, I have no idea about the word cancer within the context of French Canadian patois, right? I don't know about it. So again, that isn't even being factored in. But it doesn't matter because the word cancer is fine. The word cancer is fine. So he has been punished for saying cancer and racism that they made up. That they just made up, that they ignored evidence for. I was going to do a video yesterday, but I didn't have time. And I was going to say, look, what they should do is reduce the suspension. Give him a fine, but definitely you cannot suspend him. Because there's no proof that he's been racially disparaging here at all. None. No evidence. This absolutely would not stand up in a tribunal. At all. At all. Right? Not in employment law. And not in sports. It just wouldn't happen this way. So there would be a grounds for appeal here. Oh, and you'll also notice, and I just want to say this before I forget, isn't it weird how this code of conduct that Blizzard have, supposedly, and they've made all the players sign it, and they totally want to make it transparent, never released it. Never released it. So they tell us what they banned players for. We can't go and check whether or not they had the right to do that. We just have to assume. We can't even assume that any of these things are covered by their rules. You know, there's something grotesquely Orwellian about that. We punish people under a code of conduct the public cannot see, but we will totally release it when we're ready. Like, fuck Blizzard for that. So, anyway, let me tell you a story about, and I'll tell you what happened to xQc here. There's a League player, a League of Legends player, and this League of Legends player got banned for being toxic. Apparently what happened was they just suddenly looked at their chat logs and their report record, and they realized that this player was so toxic they had to issue a suspension. They had to ban them, right? And I won't say for how long, because again, that will help you identify the player. But here's what had really happened. Behind the scenes, that player had drunkenly insulted a Riot staff member at an after party at an event and said something they didn't like. So they went through this player's history and records and then suspended them. That's the sort of shit that's happened here. And it's a disgrace. And keep in mind, Riot Games are the same company that for years denied Jensen the right to compete in their league on the basis of he had used a Skype geolocator and pasted it in the chat. And they used that as evidence of DDoSing. I'm not saying he didn't DDoS anyone, but I'm saying when you make decisions like this, your evidence has to absolutely be cast iron. This is a disciplinary ruling. There should be an appeals process. And you've got to treat it like a court, right? Like I say, I've been a trade union representative. This would not stand up. If this was somebody I was representing, and I'd be like, okay, well, your contract has been terminated for racial language, and this was the evidence that was served up to me, I'd be like, this is fine. You're going back to work on Monday. So it's utterly absurd. Yeah, and imagine what it's like, because this is where it gets really bad, and this is where I'll stop talking about xQc. And for those who've just joined or missed it, I'll probably edit all of this together to be a video. But here's where it gets really bad. Let me just find this for you. Because this isn't a fair competitive ruling, not just because of all the reasons I just listed. But there's something even more sinister at play. Here it is. Thank fuck. It's from 2 days ago. So now you can see exactly what's happened here. So I'll remind you of how this league is structured, okay? Because I think you might, maybe, I don't know, people who watch my stream probably understand. But maybe there's some new people drifting in. Maybe some of you don't understand, and I'm crediting you with too much intelligence. But I'm going to break it down for you simply. All right? This is a complete, hermetically sealed, controlled exclusively by Blizzard organization that has the illusion of competitive integrity. Blizzard owns it all and controls it all. They allow people to invest in it. That is it. You are leasing a franchise from Blizzard. So let's look at how it works from the top down, right? Blizzard created brands. They call them franchises, but you'll notice they're not franchise slots, they're completely new brands. Right? And Blizzard own those brands. Okay? Jack, should he ever leave Overwatch, will not be taking London Spitfire with him. London Spitfire will stay in the league. It's like the CGS. So Jack is leasing for a share of the profits London Spitfire. And London Spitfire, if Jack makes them super successful, and then Blizzard say, hey Jack, we've made up a story that makes you look like a cunt, so now we're firing you from the league. Toodles, Jack will get a payoff that will be a fraction of the value of the franchise that he made for Blizzard. Blizzard control it all. And if you think they don't, look, like not even Riot Games had the audacity to do this. Blizzard went out And like, you know, guys like Hook, they literally said to like the Crafts and other investors when they came in, we will get you the staff. So they go, oh, here you go, Hook. Here's a job for you at Boston, one of our big dudes, you know. Serves the double team. They wanted Hook off the desk because apparently he was too edgy. So they push him out, right? And here you go, Crafts. We've given you a GM. Blizzard, the Puppet Masters. There was a Blizzard employee called fucking Bare Hands or something. He's like, I'm so sad to be leaving Blizzard. Oh, whoopsie. I just so happened to get a job at an Overwatch franchise. Oh, my me. What's happening? Right? Blizzard own it all. The fucking, what is it? The Chinese franchise is controlled by the company that runs Battle.net in China. I like, you know, there's business ties to fucking Blizzard all over the place. It is a fake league. It is controlled exclusively by Blizzard. So think about that. Think about that in your mind. Blizzard rule everything here. They've got former Blizzard employees controlling franchises. They've got business partners controlling franchises in foreign countries. This is not an independent league. And Blizzard tell you what to do. So, what do you think xQc said 2 days ago? The plot thickens, right?
When Reddit talked about the Tryhard 7 thing, the league told my team to not play me. They asked them to bench me for scrims and for play for the week. So my team benched me. And I tried to spectate Taimu and give him tips and tricks and try to give him hints. I tried to do feedback while spectating scrims. So I was basically like sacrificing my stream for the whole week to try to make Taimu better. And it didn't.
Right. So where to even begin with this fucking bullshit? Right? Because, again, I am not a defender of xQc. I think the guy has been a fucking idiot and he's put himself in a real bad position. And I think he's going to regret this in 2-3 years when he does some growing up. For fucking real. But back to this, right? So Overwatch, the company that controls the franchises and leases them out to all these venture capital firms, went to them and said, bench your player. This is overreach like I have never seen. Oh, and where you at, esports lawyers? All sucking at the Blizzard teeth. More money. Thank you, big, delicious Blizzard money teeth. Yeah, all you fucking esports lawyers should be put on fucking notice. Because that's a disgrace right there. A fucking... The league privately going to a fucking separate brand, supposedly, a team that is meant to have its own autonomy on decisions and saying, listen, we don't want to make a big deal about this, but would you consider dropping the player? That is so corrupt. It is disgusting. It is disgusting. Imagine the NFL going, hey, listen, Brady's got this Deflategate thing going on. Can you just drop him so it doesn't blow up? It would really help us out. That would be some of the most demonstrably corrupt shit you would see in modern sports. And Blizzard just did it. And no one gives a fuck about that. Meanwhile, I see all these esports lawyers go, no, come in. We will represent you. Don't forget you need your representation. Join my agency. We'll represent you. Oh, yo, we got this happening here, esports lawyers. Anyone want to help this motherfucker out? Can't. It's Overwatch. We want to represent all them. We want to corner that market. We need Blizzard to approve of us tacitly, or they drive us out and we lose our bottom end. You bunch of fucking shills. So... anyway, right? So anyway, on top of that, you have somehow put it into the code of conduct, which you will not show us, but you can ban a player from practicing with his own team when he's suspended. What is this? What is this? What is this, guys? Are we going to allow that to stand and no one is going to bat an eyelid? This is a separate team. How they practice and who they use in practice is fuck all to do with you, you insane, grasping, overreaching games developer fucktards. What are you saying here? What are you saying here? I, as Dallas Fuel, cannot use xQc in practice. He can't even spectate my players and tell them what to do so we win our game, which you suspended him from. This cannot be allowed to stand. There is so much wrong with that. I can't even tell. Again, imagine Valve picking up the phone. Oh, hey there, team. We noticed that ahead of your DreamHack tournament, you were practicing with steel. Stop that right fucking now. They just wouldn't do it. They're like, fuck it. We're going to make Artifact. It's going to slay all card games. We're back to making games. We're just on a roll. We're just going to let the scene do what it wants to do. We control our shit. They can't play at Valve tournaments, but they can play everywhere else. We stone cold don't give a fuck. And then Blizzard is saying who you can and can't practice with. It is absolutely obscene. Now, as I said, because I will make this into a video and I will put it separate in my YouTube channel. And if you're watching that video now, just to get all mindfucky Back to the Future timeline shit with you, right? Yes, this isn't a well thought out and balanced and paced video because I'm doing it live on the fly on a stream, but you ain't seeing that. So don't call it a video. The clue's in the title. It'll say stream highlight. But I'll end on this, right? xQc is a fucking idiot. He said some unconscionable stuff I don't approve of, but what they've done to him here is got nothing to do with that, and nothing to do with what they're punishing him for, and everything to do with that, and that's not right. You already punished him for that. You can't punish him again just because his name is making negative headlines for your league. That isn't how it works. You have got to be fair. There has to be some arbitrary shit going on. You can't just be like, right, fuck it. I've had enough of this xQc guy. Well, what can we make up? Let's just say he was racially disparaging. Doesn't he use that emote all the time? And isn't there a much broader argument to have about that emote being racially disparaging in the first place? Don't worry, we'll just do it. We'll pressure Fuel into doing it because we got that juice. I mean, fuck, we can kick Fuel out the league, and Hastro really doubled down on that Overwatch shit, so he needs it. It's ridiculous the stranglehold they've got over these players' careers, and they aren't wielding that power fair. And this, like, Riot would blush over this. Riot would say, nah, we ain't doing that. That's how fucking bad it is. So I call out esports lawyers. Come on, then. Show me you care about fairness in the game. I don't even like this dude. I don't even know this dude. And I'm telling you, he's been fucked.